has been working as a professor at Usman University. He also gives a seminar in different states, different Tamil Nadu, Chennai, and other countries. He has a very knowledge on society as well as how we have to live in our current scenario. Right? I welcome to Dr. Balavan Srishmaru.
Good afternoon, sir. So today we have little understanding about how this GIS and remote sensing, both of them help to maintain the waste monitoring and how that actually help for the local government system. So of course you people can understand that the maintaining hygiene condition and everyday collection of the garbage, all these are the duties of local self-government. Whether it is the urban government or the rural government or the tribal government or the cantonment government. So basically we have local governments with three kinds of the categories. The one is urban government, whereas suppose you see Hyderabad municipality as a corporation. And then after, at some level of below local governance structure is considered as the municipality. At the same time, some local administrative areas which comes under the control of the military, which we simply call it as cantonments. These are the three categories of the urban local government. And later coming to the rural government system, a rural government can be a panchayat and the basic level of panchayat, and then after a medium level of panchayat, and then after town panchayats can also be there. Along with these village panchayat or the urban local government, we also have some other structures which is called the PESA. PESA is a kind of local government which functions at the Adivasi tribal region areas. Suppose if you go to a remote Adivasi areas, there is no workout of this Gram Panchayat, there is no workout of this urban local government system. There is a government which is called the PESA Act. It is one kind of the act which brought into the limelight and they. But the thing is, maintaining or collecting all this garbage or the waste, whatever is collected from the uses of the people. And a Gram Panchayat or the local government is the whole and sole responsible. Of course, you people can understand that by 73rd and 74th Amendment Acts, this cleaning of the environment is the responsibility of the local government. That is the reason you can see that how that dumping maintenance and then after collecting and transporting that waste into the dump yards. All this is, you can understand that it is the responsibility of the local government. Very recently, I went to Dubai to deliver a lecture. There I observed that whether the roads or the hygiene conditions as like the Indian cities and the rural villages. So I haven't seen a small kind of stick or at least a paper, the waste paper, on any roads of Dubai city. I never seen. And also I visited the place where the most of Indians are staying. So I visited one camp. In that camp, more than 5,000 workers used to stay. Every room is filled with the AC, arranged ACs. But in one room, more than 6 to 8 people used to stay by the one beds vertically arranged. And once we come on to the roads, mostly you cannot see a single person on the roads, particularly where the Indian people are used to stay. Otherwise, you cannot see any person on the roads. Only vehicles will move. So I used to stay for more than 1 week. I stayed in a hotel. It is almost 64th building. From there, when I look this side and that side, almost you cannot see a single man on the road. You cannot see a single leaf or single newspaper or any waste stick. Nothing you cannot see. So roads are almost completely clean, hygiene kind of maintenance is practicing there in Dubai. So generally we have a notions that where the Muslim minority, of course, sorry for using that, people have that notions. Because of Hyderabad city, you just imagine that when we go into the Hyderabad city, Hyderabad geography is divided into different social categories. So suppose Jubilee Hills, Banjara Hills is one kind of the rich areas, and whereas Gold City is some other kind of the area, the population density is very high there. And then after your Uppal, Pirjadi, Kuda, and these areas are some sort of the place. But you see, mostly Jubilee Hills, Banjara Hills are the old city where the Muslim minorities are living. These outside areas are mostly the migrated, populated geographical regions. In these regions, because of conscious or unconscious, because of wastage which is produced by the human needs and all of that, we produce every day millions and millions of tons of the wastage through our clothes, through our eating food, through other kinds of the wastage which we use in our office or the college or the home or whatever the things are there. When we moving on the road, you can see there are some vehicles which are simply parking on the ways. So that won't remove by any private person or by any other kind of the government organization. You can see that the coconut shells there are, and you can see the waste clothes are there are. You can see lot of shit. Everything is identified on the streets of the Indian urban cities. But these worst maintenance urban cities are also getting some sort of the awards and rewards in India. But actually, according to my observation, because from Dubai to I also went to Abu Dhabi, and Abu Dhabi is also very clean kind of the city. Even I went to that what is that coastal area. You cannot see any kind of the thing, any dust, any wastage. You cannot see there in that. So how it is possible? Because of two reasons. The one important reason is how people are cultured in terms of hygienic conditions. Suppose we eat chocolate and throw the wrapper there. Right? So we use some paper and after finishing our work we throw it there. And then after we drink the water and we throw the water bottle there. But in Dubai people will find out the dustbin until that they won't drop anything anywhere on the road or any surface of that. So here the point is, first of all, the civilian culture towards the hygienic condition is very much important thing. But the one most important thing which I am going to talk about today is how GIS and remote sensing will helpful for us to maintain the wastage and waste monitoring situation. So now I'll just simply give you a loose idea and understanding about what actually GIS is. GIS is basically, we call that geographical information system. Of course, we use this geographical information system for different kinds of the purpose. But here we use this geographical information system for maintaining the hygiene condition and to remove the wastage and how we monitoring the wastage from our livelihood, day-to-day livelihood. And second one, coming to the point, remote sensing. So in the remote sensing, actually, the wastage could be identified and managing through the satellite kind of the network. So in some countries which I mentioned right now, Dubai and Abu Dhabi, so they identify, they use these two kinds of the methods to maintain the local governance system. So they use the GIS, they use remote sensing. But here you see, do we have any idea that whether in India, any city or any village using this GIS and the remote sensing kind of the technology to maintain the hygiene conditions? Yes, of course, in India there are many cities and urban local governments which are using this GIS and the remote sensing technique. Mostly these are the metropolitan cities. Among all of them, Hyderabad is also one municipal corporation which is using these things. So, but here we need to understand that what is the use of using this GIS and the remote sensing technology. What is the useful of them? Here you see there are some important advantages to use the GIS for the waste monitoring. The one is efficient route planning. So actually, when we see that the dumping transport vehicles are going on the road, so that proper kind of coverage is not there, and almost they transport the wastage at the same time they also drop the wastage even on the roads. So, and also there are water leakages there which makes too much of smell. So the smell is also kind of the pollution, and dropping certain kind of wastage on the road is also one thing. But you cannot see these kind of the transport system in most and advanced developed countries. Almost these are highly qualitative things. I just give you an example that because Hyderabad has a lot of prestige. Just I'll tell you an example. During the Nizam Nawab's time, Nizam Nawab was considered the richest man in the world, even not written queen. And he is the richest man. This richest man once went to the showroom of Rolls Royce. Because of his appearance and all of that, that showroom people actually disrespected him for not to say. And then immediately he sent his bureaucrats and he bought 3 vehicles of Rolls Royce and used these 3 Rolls Royce cars for the collecting garbage. Right? So why I am telling these things, the history of Hyderabad in the case of the maintaining hygiene conditions and monitoring this kind of wastage, monitoring wastage is very high level actually, not just in the modern times, even in the olden days of the Hyderabad city. So it is very clean and it is very beautiful city actually. It is almost compared with the Paris city of that France. So now coming that, what is the use of using this? Efficient route planning. So there is no actually the proper route planning to collect the garbage and to dump the garbage. Very near to your college, there is a biggest dump yard is there in Damayuda, am I right? So Damayuda, how they maintain all these things and how the route plan can be find out and can maintain with the GIS using. And later we talk about that real-time monitoring. Integration with sensors and the LOT devices enables tracking bin fill levels and vehicle location for timely data-driven collection and decisions. Sometimes there is a misuse of using the vehicles. Of course, it is happened mostly in the public services. Suppose you take the RTC, Road Transport Corporation. So the vehicle has started, it generally take the time 1 hour to reach its destination. But even after 1.5 hours, 2 hours, it may not reach the destination because of there are certain kind of the problem. So even for the dump collection, we can understand that this real-time monitoring, how much time is taken from the collection of the garbage and from the collection point itself to the dump yard. How much time we can maintain, and by that how many vehicles we can use in certain geographical area or certain kind of the points where the huge collection will be taken place and where the less collection will be taken place. Based on that, if they know that the time management, according to that they can use all the vehicles according to the proper maintenance without wasting the economic resources, diesel, fuel or whatever it is there, we can maintain that. And the third one, spatial analysis, helps identify illegal dumping sites, high waste generation zones, and plan for new waste infrastructure such as material recovery facilities and landfills in suitable locations. Generally, because of, as I told you earlier, that we have very less civilized culture in India. So we don't have culture actually. How to maintain our surroundings, even at home, college, public place, whether it is railway station, airport or college or whatever it is there, the public place, we don't know how to maintain it. Actually, we misuse the public places according to our wish and our interest. So here we need to understand that how these illegal dumpings can be maintained according to this GIS and the remote sensing. When we use this GIS, actually GIS helps us whether there is an official dumping or the private dumping or actually the private operators. Suppose you see there are some people who collect certain things from the garbages. They collect plastic, they collect some iron things, they collect some other things. So it is also there. There are private operators who collect the wastage and there is municipality operators and government officially accepted things. So this GIS will helpful us whether there is any legal maintenance are there, what kind of the quality of the waste is available, to collect that quantity of the waste, how much vehicles one need, and how many people's support we need, and according to that, the municipality have that kind of human resources. Do that municipality have any kind of the financial or the maintenance economic resources? All these can be calculated and maintained accountants according to the system when the municipality having this GIS. So this spatial kind of analysis can also be very much advanced methods we can use when there is a GIS and remote sensing is using for the maintenance of the local government system. And later, resource optimization. So facilitates better location of waste collection and vehicles and manpower, improving service coverage and reducing overlaps and missed area. Suppose you see sometimes in our colonies, people used to throw the waste wherever they wish. So they used to throw the wastage which is not really a proper location. So we need to drop the wastage in a proper location. We need to drop the waste in some sort of the municipality arranged kind of the dustbins or something like that. So this GIS will helpful us that the locations which are efficient, which are comfortable, which don't make any kind of the problematic for the public moving here and there. So this GIS and remote sensing will helpful the proper locations which are suitable to drop the wastage from the public itself, and even to maintain the dump yards and to organize the dump yards which geographical locations are very less harmful for the public health. So this is the another important kind of the resource optimization. Next one, environmental sustainable. So it reduces the vehicle emissions and the fewer unnecessary trips, help lower environmental pollution. So when we have a perfect administrative plan, so by that we can reduce the vehicle usage of the producing pollution. One sources and one mechanism to reduce the pollution, air pollution or the carbon emission pollutions. Next one, data-driven decision making. Authorities get better insights into waste generation patterns, enabling focused policy interventions and better urban planning. So in the broader way of the urban planning is not just how we construct the infrastructure. So even for the establishment of infrastructure, we create a lot of wastage. So this wastage is also one of the whole organization of that urban planning system. Urban planning is not just providing the infrastructure, urban planning is not providing the water facilities, transport facilities. Urban planning also needs this kind of technological inputs to have a healthy kind of the environmental situation. And you see, living these days in urban society is very highly difficult. That is the reason even Telugu movies or Bollywood movies shows that the content of that beauty is there in village but not in the urban. But no one interested to live in the villages. Everybody is interested to live in the urban settlements. So it is because of we have too much of infrastructural facility. We have hospital, we have engineering college, we have medical college, we have CBSE school, Cambridge school, ICSE school, proper roading. You can ride the bike here. So you see, urban is actually a practical place and village is an ideal place where actually we imagine and live in certain kind of beauty notions. Of course, many of us who came from the villages, but it is very less who go back to the villages, but most of the people are settling in urban settlements or urban geographical areas only. It is for the worker, it is for the bureaucrat, it is for the capitalist, whoever you are, that doesn't matter. The matter is who wanted to stay in urban geographical areas. So on. But the thing is, how we make the urban plan. So the urban plan is very much important. Once upon a time, people used to stay in villages. That there is a huge migration is taking place from the village side towards the urban side. But how much population is moving or migrating from the village to the urban structures? Is that much of the infrastructural facilities are provided or not? Of course, governments are mostly understanding that infrastructural facilities in terms of the roads, street lights only. But this Indian government system, particularly local government system, is very less conscious and negligible towards the using these kind of GIS technology and remote sensing technology to provide the better health conditions and a highly hygienic health condition. So that is the reason while making the urban plan, it is also included. These two areas also included further. Next one, supports public engagement. Visual and interactive GIS maps can engage citizens in reporting issues and tracking waste management performance. So here we need to understand that how public engagement, earlier I already mentioned that in India we have very less civilized culture. So public support, that means where public are aware, conscious about their own surroundings and to maintain the hygiene conditions, then only the governments can implement these policies. But even here you see, of course the government is ready to use the GIS and remote sensing, but if we don't have that support from our side, or if we are not having that kind of civilized culture, even by adopting these kind of certain kind of reforms, there may not be a greater change in the maintenance of the beautiful urban cities. And later, scalability and integration. So GIS platforms can integrate multiple data sources. Suppose population, land use, infrastructure, improving long-term waste management strategies aligned with the smart city goals. So nowadays it is not metro cities and all of that. Actually these days we are talking about that smart city. So what are the characters and features of the smart city? Is smart city only internet, artificial intelligence enabled kind of the cities? Are the smart cities also included with some sort of the physical features which makes the smart? Smart is not just about the body of it. Generally we use that smart prefix to any person. So how smart they are according to their brain and the thoughts. So smart is not the physical appearance. Smart is about that intelligence. So even while talking about that, if you want the beauty of the urban cities, you need to have compulsory these kind of technological interference or technological introduction to maintain the smart cities and all of that. So of course, so these are very much important because the Indian economy is day to day growing very fastly. Of course, you people are very much important in the transformation of Indian economy. You are belongs to as a electrician, you are belongs to civil engineer, you are belongs to some software kind of computer things. And there also we maintain or we create a lot of the waste. So how to maintain all these things? Just if we study some course as for the career orientation or teaching some course for the career orientation for the generation, this generation is not enough. Unless we know that how to maintain the civilized culture which makes a beauty not just in terms of the physical context, the beauty, physical context and the city will also give you that beautiful mind. So the beautiful minds can be constructed through the beautiful environment and beautiful geographies. So of course you see, when you went to some sort of the beautiful place, even the hardest soul persons also become very sensitive kind of behavior they adapt. So as like that, to make this, the entire India to transform into intolerance condition towards a lovable, emotional and certain kind of the soul bonding, because Gandhi talks about that village and the urban structures, and there Gandhi mostly mentions that. So unless there is a moral obligation, it is highly difficult to expect the wonderful life to all the citizens of this country. So we need to make this GIS and the remote sensing very vastly for the using, and by that of course not just beauty in the physics and geography, the beauty can be possible in the soul itself. Thank you.